interviewing.
Shannon Riley Yale. I'm a workers advisor with the BC Government Ministry of Labor.
Okay. Thank you for being here with me at this time. Yes, thank you. Okay, the first question. Can you explain your roles and responsibilities with your current position?
As a workers advisor,
Mm,
I am an advocate and also a resource for people who are seeking to better understand the system, like the big system that
mm,
they're in as an injured worker,
yeah.
and for people who want help with disputing decisions
Mm,
and also figuring out whether the decisions that have been made are fair for them. And also, the people that come to me as clients are a little bit afraid
mm,
because they're hurt and they don't know what's going to happen next because they don't
yeah.
have any knowledge of like the big system that they've all of a sudden found themselves in as an injured worker. So I ask them questions, I review their files, I write submissions, which are like legal documents
Mm,
in support of their position in their review or appeal that go to a different decision maker to adjudicate. And usually I'm looking for something that's like the real issue on their claim or their file. And once I get to the root of it, it's kind of like mining out a little
mm,
like a diamond,
yes.
and it usually solves the whole thing. Like usually what they come to me about
Mm,
isn't like the real issue.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
That, kind of, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Second question.
Hmm.
Uh, what obstacles have you faced to get to where you are today?
Hmm. Well, I think like most people who get jobs,
Mm,
there's the us that's us that does all the things that we like to do
yeah.
every day, like go for walks in the forest with our dog and
Yeah.
read books and listen to music with swear words in it. And then there's the us that has to speak in a professional way
Yeah.
in the world and represent an employer. And as a public servant, I have to do that. And so I think in some ways my own identity is my biggest obstacle because I just want to exist as I am in the world, being
Mm,
myself, but I don't always get to do that in my job because I have to go to hearings and be very legalistic.
mm,
And that's a bit of a stretch for me
yeah.
sometimes. So that's my obstacle.
Okay. Third question. What advice would you pass on to someone interested in what you are doing?
Hmm. I would say um, that you have to be really efficient. You have to listen pretty well to people because sometimes people are trying to tell you their story, but they don't know what parts of their story are important. So you have to patiently listen to their whole story with ears that know what's going to be important um, so that you can find out what parts of their story matter, what parts you're going to tell, and what parts of their story aren't really relevant but might be important to them. So um, my job is about finding a needle in a haystack, like somewhere in this blanket, under this blanket,
Mm,
um, is something really important.
yeah.
But like the blanket, it consists of evidence and like
Yeah.
mistakes and this and the person's like story and life history, and I have to just kind of like launder the blanket, fold the blanket, but find that thing
Mm,
at the same time. I don't know, that's really vague, but hopefully that helps.
it does. So you're trying to say like you kind of have to find the important parts of the story to like make it like presentable and like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's great, Campbell.
What is your what why are you passionate about your job or role?
Hmm. Well, I know I'm good at it. That's one of those, like, you're not always good at your job,
Yeah,
and some days I'm not the best at it. Like,
yeah,
sometimes I'm impatient with people,
mm,
but I know that I'm good at my job because I win all the time.
yeah,
Like, I win all the time. I'm
yeah,
not really competitive in my life. Like, I don't really care you know, if I win a tennis game or
yeah,
something. But but I win all the time in the
mm,
work I do, which
yeah,
is kind of a nice feeling. So that
yeah,
makes me, and when you win, as you know,
yeah. Your
it,
confidence
yeah,
boosts. Yeah,
it makes you feel like you belong somewhere.
yeah,
Like you're like, oh, I'm doing good work.
hmm,
Like maybe this person wouldn't have won without me,
yeah,
and they probably wouldn't have.
yeah. Okay, thank you. So this is my own question. Uh,
I think you were gonna ask me because we talked about this.
yeah.
If I believe that a job has to
Oh
be
yeah.
like, oh yeah,
Okay, okay. Do you think the only way to be happy with your job is to be at your dream job?
no,
Okay.
I don't. And actually, I don't really think that not everybody needs to love their job to be happy in the world. That's really important because I didn't, like, I grew up, my parents were really focused on what we were going to do with our lives, like
Mhm.
what we were going to grow up to be.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have that many I didn't know enough people in my life that did different things. Like I kind of knew doctor, teacher, lawyer,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of all three of those things right now in
Yeah.
some weird way. But
Mm.
um, that was really all I knew. But now I understand that, there's people that are instrumentation technicians, and there's people that manage projects, and there's
Mm.
people that do marketing like your mom, and there's people that, you know, shake investors' hands like your dad and
Yeah.
raise money for things. And
Mm.
there's all sorts of things that you can do. Um, and not everybody's dream job is going to be something that they're even actually good at. Like you might get a teacher that realizes like they were like, "Oh, I really liked being in school, but now that I'm grown up, I don't really like kids or I don't really like learning. I just kind of I liked, I liked gym."
Yeah.
So I thought I might want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And then they get there and maybe they don't like it and maybe they're committed to it or like, being a nurse. They're like,
Mm.
"Oh, you make lots of money as a nurse. I think I'd like to do that." And then they get there and they're like, "Oh my God, like
Stressful and it's
yeah,
gross and bloody. Yeah.
yeah." So I think we need to do something that where we can have confidence and know that we're good at it and to some extent be fulfilled by it, like
Mm.
not absolutely hate it. But what makes your life good isn't your job. What
Yeah.
makes your life good is your life.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Final question.
We are going to ask fulfillment.
Oh yeah, okay. Um, ah,
I forget too.
okay. Um, so, all right, I'll just come up with one. Hmm. Uh, why, mm, what do you think your job is doing better for the world right now?
Oh, that's a really good question. That's better
Yeah,
than the question that we sort of
yeah,
thought
yeah,
we
yeah.
might want to answer.
Yeah.
Um, I think my job is doing good for the world at both the like big picture level of the
Mm,
system that I work in,
yeah.
because I make creative legal arguments that get decision makers to make decisions that actually influence other decisions.
Mm,
But on like the most basic level, I'm actually changing people's lives.
mm,
Like I wrote a poem once for a colleague that left, like
mm,
she like moved to a different job,
yeah.
and I wrote a poem for her and I said, "You put dignity on tables that begged for bread."
Mm.
That's what I do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shen, Riley, for letting me interview you, and yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for your most questions,
Yeah.
Campbell MacRae. I really enjoyed being the center
Yeah.
of your interview.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.